Hey everyone, XLex here, and just real quick before we get into today's video, I just first have to, as I say like all the time, sincerely thank everybody. I'm recording this on the evening of the 31st, and the 31st is actually my birthday. And like seriously, you guys gave me the greatest birthday gift ever this week by just helping my videos just explode with popularity. Like, I mean, I seriously can't believe it. Like, it's nuts. We're on our way to 1,000 subs at the time of recording this, which completely blows my mind. Yeah, I can't believe it. So I just, as always, have to stop and thank you guys sincerely for watching. Now, as you can tell by my icon, and I also mentioned I am recording this on the evening of the 31st, we have just started Season 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Now, real quick before we get into some gameplay videos, which is funny, I've barely played, right? Like the season just started, but like I already had some pretty nice duels that I really wanted to show off, and I really just wanted to like get started and with the videos and like get the content out for season 2. I don't know, I'm really excited about it right now. But before we get started watching some replays, we want to come over here to the notification section. Now, some of you may or may not have read this. If you don't check this notification section, I highly recommend it, because we can see here, regarding the new season of ranked duels, okay, it tells us about how ranks have reset. Now look at the bottom here, changes made to the game. After reaching Platinum Tier 1, the highest rank, players will not be demoted during the season. So this is an interesting tell, right? It's saying that Platinum Tier 1 is the highest rank of the game right now. There has been those data mined images of like higher tiers, one being King of Games, which from what I understand is the highest rank in Duel Links. But this seems to confirm that, at least for the moment, Platinum Tier 1 is going to be the highest rank. And yeah, players will not be demoted during the season. So this is kind of an interesting wording too, right? During the season. So it's not saying necessarily that you're not going to be demoted from Plat 1 moving forward. It's more saying that during this season, when you hit Platinum 1, which is currently the highest rank, you won't be demoted. Which, one, that's awesome. That means we can kind of have more fun and lay back a little bit. We can play some fun decks in Plat 1. But it also implies to me a bit that we are going to see more ranks in the future. It seems to strongly suggest that, just given the fact that they say we will not be demoted during the season, I could see a future where we get higher ranks, and then from there on out, you will demote it from Plat 1, like other ranks. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out real quick. Oh, and then also there's this: in order to balance ranked duels, players will no more skip ranks when they win duels in a row. Yeah, some of you might have noticed this happened to me, but like some last season, like sometimes when you got to like Gold 3, if you had a win streak, you would just go like straight up to Platinum 1 or Platinum 5 instead. Yeah, Platinum 1, jeez. But you just go straight up to Platinum 5 instead. That happened to me. That's how I got into Platinum. But yep, looks like that will no longer be the case due to the trade-off of us not being demoted at Plat 1, which is really cool. And actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I didn't even look to see how long the season's going to be. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, no, that's the sale. I was going to say March 30th. Okay, yeah, so it is going to be the whole month, February 28th. So, yeah, we've got, like, literally the entire month to reach Platinum 1. We did it in a week last time, so I'm not super concerned about getting there. And then, yeah, maybe I can start showing off some more fun decks once we get there. But here, let's get to what you're really here for, and that's some of the duels fresh from the start of Season 2. I got a few here that I'm going to show off. By the way, thanks for the follows, guys. Like, holy cow, I did not... like, last time I looked before tonight when it was at 47, it was at, like, 15. So that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, take a look at the replays here. I've got a few duels here. I'm using my... my current build, I guess, so to speak, from my last video, which was my recapping the journey to Platinum 1 in Season 1. Oh, by the way, I am planning on making some updates to my deck list, and in the next video, in the comments section, or I don't know about the next video, maybe I'll go back and do it in past videos too, but I do plan on typing out some physical deck lists, or some like written deck lists, and putting them in the comments. Yeah, because I've been seeing that a lot, and I apologize for not getting those out sooner. But yeah, that's just where I'm at with that right now. I'm going to do it though. I do apologize. In any case, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these duels here. Let's actually start looking at our opponent's decks before we get into the replays, because that'll actually help me remember which replay we're at too. Yeah, this is against the Prank Kids, which I don't know if I've actually shown myself playing against Prank Kids yet, but now let's go ahead and take a look at the duel. I don't know, maybe, there's a part of me that's like, maybe I shouldn't show opponents' decks, because, like, maybe I shouldn't be showing people's decks on the channel, but I mean, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so if I remember right, okay, no, I was going first here. I thought I might have been going second. But yeah, we're going to start off with a fairly standard fractal play. Our opponent's going to chain Max C in the middle of it, which, as I've said in the past, doesn't particularly matter. Although I kind of wanted to try something here. Now, normally I don't recommend, like, playing into a Max C. But I was like, you know what? Because I wanted to go for a 3-material Appalachia combo, right? And I was like, but they Max C'd. And I was like, well, okay. Let's see what happens if I just go for it. Let's see what happens if I just go for the full combo under Max C, you know? I guess this is the one time I did actually take the Max C challenge, so to speak, but your opponent's going to Ash the Farigite there, which is totally fine, because we're actually going to end up wanting the Bearbra more anyway. Like, I don't really care about Farigite. This is kind of a good example of, not bad necessarily, but not great timing for hand traps. Like the Max C there, even though I ended up playing into the Max C, like the Max C and especially that Ash Blossom, I think both were fairly poorly timed on our opponent's part. Yeah, our opponent's going to trade Nibiru. We're just going to go ahead and negate it because we want to keep our negates up. Yeah, our opponent definitely should have saved Max C for when we committed to a special summon. And I guess they drew the Ash Alpha C, so they couldn't have done it on my Fractal, which would have been the best place to Ash, but they definitely should have waited, I think, for my Bearbra. Or just some other switch effect. I mean, it kind of tells to me that my opponent isn't particularly experienced with playing against Tri-Brigade, or if they are, they just haven't really picked up on the deck's plays. It's another reason why I suggested in my tips for getting to Plat 1 video, not, like, mentally conceding, as I call it. Like, we want to be paying attention to what our opponent's doing, right? Because not only is it helpful for the current duel, but it can be helpful for future duels as well. I did order these effects wrong. I should have done Nerval and then Kit in order to chain block the Nerval to get the search instead of the mill. That would have been the optimal play there, but yeah, you can see even after the Maxi challenge, I mean, our opponent's got, you know, a fair few cards in hand, but it's nothing, like, particularly scary. Yeah, so we have the Maxi, but unfortunately our opponent does have the Crossout Designator, and okay, here's an example of something not to do in a duel. It's actually something I did. Full disclosure, while I didn't mentally concede, at this point I did actually just get up from the computer and go get some food because I was hungry, and I was like, you know what, I don't have any more responses, really. I mean, I had the Appalachia, but, I don't know. I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go get some food while my opponent's comboing. No, I hadn't left just yet, yeah, because I do activate the Appalachia here. I was gonna say, I don't think I would have walked away while I had Appalachia triggers available. But, yep, our opponent is going to get their other Prank Kids effects off. At some point during this combo, I get up and go get food, which, again, I don't recommend doing. That was a good example of something not to do. But, I mean, you saw the outcome. We are actually going to still end up winning this duel, which this is, you know, yet another kind of living example of what I say when I mean, like, you shouldn't concede too early. It's like, you know, obviously I was very tempted to just concede and just, okay, let's just move on to the next duel, especially because this was my first game of ranked, so I was like, you know what, like, it's not going to knock me down in any ranks. I'm already at gold 5. But, no, I decided to stick through it because I was like, you never know. It's very possible we still win this duel. Not even very possible, but it's... I wouldn't call it likely, necessarily, at this stage, but I would say we still... Well, I don't know, maybe it is likely, because as you can see, we have the Zoodiac, right? Like, when I came back and saw this board state that I was in, I was like, you know, this actually isn't that bad, because I can use my Zoodiac Whiptail to set up a Zeus, and then if I blow up my opponent's board, like, what more can they do? As you can see, Prank Kids goes to their deck really quickly. They only have 10 cards left in their deck at this point. They didn't use much of their extra deck yet. Usually they use more of their extra deck for, like, comboing and stuff. At least from the few times I've played against them. But yeah, just like I was saying earlier, we're just going to go straight into our Zeus play here. I am actually going to start with Trident, though, and I want to pop this Prank Kids Prank continuous spell after I battle, but before I make Zeus. Because this is how Prank Kids, from what I've gathered, from what I've played against them, that's kind of how they're able to recur for a lot of their strategy. They're just able to keep shuffling their cards back in their deck, and then they kind of just get like an infinite or near infinite engine going. But if we can cut them off from that, then they're not able to... I mean, obviously they're still going to have plays, but they don't have like infinite plays. And we have the 4 material Zeus here, so we can use the first Zeus pretty liberally, although I am going to wait for them to commit at least a little bit more. Mainly I'm just going to wait for this Prank Kids Roxy's to summon that card. Plus I want to get a draw off of Maxi as well. And we do get the Revolt, which is a really nice top deck. But yeah, here at this point I am going to Zeus let's just cut my opponent off right there. You know, I'm like, okay, that's cute, Prank Kids, but you're done at this point. And my opponent's just going to concede. As they realize I'm able to combo off, I still have 2 materials on my Zeus, and they're like running out of materials, if not already out of materials. Okay, so let's move on to this next duel here, which as you can see is a whopping 15 turns. I think this is, you know, by far my longest duel I've had so far. And it was against Adamanticators. This is actually my first time ever playing against Adamanticators. And I'd heard that they can have some pretty intense plays, but unfortunately we're not going to see a whole lot of those plays from our opponent in this duel. I don't know if my opponent just, like, had a really, really bricky opening hand, but they're honestly really just not going to do much of anything in this duel. Like, I think they just set one and pass. Or no, I go first here. Yeah, okay, so this Pot of Desires I actually want to talk about for a second. Let me pause it. So I actually stopped and thought not really hard, but I thought a good minute about this Pot of Desires, because as you know, typically in Game 1 I don't like to Pot of Desires right away, but I kind of decided that, like, Zoodiac and Imperm isn't the best, or Zoodiac Trident and Imperms aren't like the best ending board. Like with the Desires we could do better, so I decided to risk it and go for it, but we are going to get Ash, which is a bit unfortunate. And looking at what we lost, it's actually a lot of combo. Actually, it's entirely combo pieces. It's Tenkies, Fractal, you know, it's not like awful. Like, this is definitely, I've had much worse Desires mills, but yeah, it's still not ideal, especially given that I was looking for combo pieces specifically because it was turn 1. But we got Ash, so it didn't particularly matter either way. I decided to go for the Trident here because I don't have any other options. We can attach the Whiptail to boost Trident's defense. We're going to go ahead and throw our Imperms down as well. But yeah, our opponent just sets a monster and pass, which hugely relieves me, to be honest, because, you know, my hand's not like super duper great right here. And thanks to Whiptail, we're going to get to banish that card. It's honestly why I like having 2 Whiptail in the deck. Like, I think Whiptail is a really, really good just Zoodiac material monster. That banish anything the monster battles effect, that comes up a lot. It's actually going to come up in the next replay too, if I recall correctly. But yeah, we're able to go into a 6 material Zeus here with the Imperms and the called buys. So at the very least, I'm feeling fairly confident in my ability to win this game. Even though I can't combo out at this point, I can still at least control the board. Which is another reason why, it's one of like many, many, many reasons why I love Zoodiac Tri-Brigade, and I always fall back on this deck when laddering, is just because we have so many options at this point. Like, we have the ability, like I said, to combo, or we can pivot into more of this kind of position where we're more controlling. And it's not hard to do it. You can kind of do it on a dime, really, or it just kind of depends on your opening hand and which one you want to lean more into. So yeah, like I said, even though we're not really drawing like comboing stuff, like I'd kind of kill for a Fractal at this stage of the game, but you know, we still have the Ash, we still got the Feather Duster, and we still have Imperms down, along with all 6 materials. I don't even think we actually end up needing to use Zeus at all, even though we have 6 materials, and honestly, I'm ready to just, you know, trigger Zeus on a dime, even if it means destroying 1 or 2 of my own Imperms, but... I mean, look at our opponents, what they're doing. Like, they're having to set Ash Blossom. I imagine their hand just got super bricked. Which, again, I don't know much about Emancipators. Like I said, this is actually my first duel ever against the deck. But, yeah, we're just going to draw more hand traps and just keep smacking our opponent. Like I said before, I'm fairly confident in my ability to maintain control of this game. And now you're starting to see why this game lasted 15 turns. So at this point, our opponent is going to get some out of play, it looks like. They're going to special summon Analyzer. I'm going to chain Max C in order to get a draw off so I can try to draw up something at this point. But we're going to use Imperm on the summon of the Analyzer. And we're going to want to do that because if we use it in response to the activating the effect, then, you know, I guess our opponent... I thought, I misread it earlier, actually. I thought excavating was a cost. It looks like it's part of the effect. So I guess it doesn't particularly matter when we would have chained Imperm. However, you notice our opponent played Monster Reborn in this zone here, where our Imperm was, which is, yeah, bad placement on their part, because as you can see, the Monster Reborn is going to get negated, fizzle, and nothing's going to happen. Same with their Analyzer's ability. So, again, even though we're not able to do much, we're able to keep our opponent from doing stuff. And here we got a kit off the top of the deck, which... we don't have a graveyard set up to use the Banish effect, but at the very least we can go into an Almirage main phase 2, send Nerval, add a Fractal to finally set up some plays next turn. I do also got to give props to this Emancipator player. I say that 5 times fast. I got to give props because, you know, they're inadvertently, I mean, obviously they probably haven't watched my video, but they're following the advice that I always give you guys. Like, they're not surrendering. They're actually playing the duel out, which, yeah, I think is pretty commendable. They're going to go for another play here by special summoning the Analyzer. They're going to excavate the rock thing. But, again, I don't know anything about this deck because this is the only example I have against it. We're just going to Ash Blossom to negate their Analyzer, though. And from here, we're able to secure the duel. We're going to summon Fractal, and I know this seems a bit extra to go for the Ancient Warriors monster here, but it is optimal to do it before attacking. Just on the off chance our opponent has an ability to like summon a monster during the battle phase. Alright, we've got one more duel here, and as I alluded to earlier, I didn't show the deck, but it's Eldelich, I'll just tell you. This is the duel against Eldelich. I saw a comment asking, how do we play against Eldelich? And the answer to this question is very, very cautiously. Especially when our opponent has a lot of back row. Okay, you see, we did open Harpy's Feather Duster, and as soon as our opponent plays the Cursed Elderland. Okay, I see the Harpy's Feather Duster. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. But we do notice they added the Golden Land here, the Golden Land Forever, which has the ability to negate, you know, pretty much any of our things. So that is a bit of a bummer. It's like, okay, now I am going to have to actually deal with their back row. So how are we going to do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up, and this is what I'm thinking as my opponent's doing all this during their turn. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to lead by normal summoning the Ram because I have a Tenki, so I'm putting, and a Nerval, so I can make plays without my normal summon necessarily. So I'm going to start with Ram, and I'm going to see if that baits out anything. Ram is also nice because of its ability to negate traps that target it. Is it traps in general or just traps that target it? When I put out actually it's a trap card or effect that targets this card. Yeah, so obviously that's going to be pretty decent. It's going to give our Zoodiac, if we're able to get it off, the ability to protect itself. Now, I did actually start with the Fractal play here because I drew into it. And again, I'm using Tenki. I'm just starting off with these, like, these are kind of what I call feeler plays, right? I'm throwing out the Fractal, seeing if my opponent responds. Okay, no. Will they respond with anything to the Tenki? Okay, no. Okay, let's try to get off, you know, the Harpy's Feather Duster. I know I can speak there. And yeah, that is going to draw out the Golden Land Forever. But, you know, here I'm like, okay, I can use Chaos and I don't have to commit too much. And then, yeah, once I saw the Ferrigite go through and then Ferrigite's effect go through, I'm like, okay, we can start going into some Zoodiac plays from this stage. And again, we're going to see where Whiptail's effect is especially useful, because as you can see, I'm summoning my Zoodiacs in attack mode. Oh, and we're going to get Chakanane off. Opponent's going to use this I don't know. This trap, I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not going to butcher it. And they're going to prevent us from summoning the Rainworm with Shockanane, but I'm not concerned about that, like, literally whatsoever. That's completely fine. I am not worried about it. We're going to get Trident here, and we're going to actually attack the Golden Lord with the Trident, which is going to let us banish it. Again, due to Whiptail. It's totally worth the, what did we take, 2,500 points of damage? Yeah, that is 100% worth it to get that off. One thing to know about Eldritch, one tip I have for playing against them is, like, yeah, their back rows are scary, but if you're able to cut off access to their Golden Lords, there's not really a whole lot you can do. Like, if you're able to banish their Golden Lords, like, say, with Whiptail, or with, like, a DD Crow or something, or Called By, or if you're able to, like, shuffle it back into the deck from the graveyard with, like, your Eagle, then, honestly, like, you can just summon a Fractal and go, like, Fractal Beatdown, and your opponent's not really going to be able to do a whole lot in response to that, without access to their Golden Lords. While the Floodgates are the most annoying part of the deck, it is also important to recognize that the Golden Lord is the backbone of the deck, and again, without it, our opponent's really just playing a bunch of trap cards, which again is annoying, but isn't going to win the game by itself. Speaking of annoying and a bunch of trap cards, our opponent's going to get 3 more back row, which I think for a lot of people this is one of the more annoying parts of Eldritch, right? Is that just when it seems like they have nothing, all of a sudden they're getting to set 3 spell and traps from their deck. But the Eldritch trap cards themselves really aren't that bad. You know, for the most part, they just summon the Golden Lord. The most annoying one is the one that destroys a card, that summons itself as a monster and then blows up a card while you control the Golden Lord. I think it is this one, the Conquistador of the Golden Land. But I mean, otherwise they mostly just are focused around summoning the Golden Lord, or there's Golden Land Forever, I think is the most annoying one. But as far as stopping your plays goes, really it's just, does your opponent have the Floodgates? And as far as playing against Floodgates, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot I can suggest in that regard, right? Like, to a certain degree, let's say it this way, to a certain degree, if your opponent flips up Skill Drain and Rivalry, and you don't have a way to out them, I mean, yeah, there's not really a whole lot you can do, and you kind of just lose. But it's easy to think that, or have that happen to you, and be like, well, how are you supposed to be Eldritch? It's impossible. But it's not impossible because, you know, sometimes they don't have it. Sometimes you have the Harpy's Feather Duster. Like, you have to always remember that variance works both ways. Like, yeah, it's really easy to remember all the times, like, oh yeah, my opponent just flipped 3 Floodgates and I didn't have anything and then I just couldn't do anything. But it's also important to keep in mind, well, okay, there was that game where I had Harpies and just blew my opponent out. Oh, and there was that game I banished their Golden Lord and they couldn't do anything. Or there was like this game where they didn't get Floodgates and we were able to play through their back row anyway. Alright, so that's about all I've got for you guys today. Thank you as always for watching. Like I said, you guys made my week like one of the best birthday weeks of my life. I legit mean that. That was like your support as always is so awesome and so appreciated. And definitely be on the lookout for more Master Duel gameplay. I'm going to be jumping right back into it as soon as I'm done recording this video. So as always, thank you so much for watching. This is HexLex, signing out. Have a good day.